Hey guys, so in 2024, I set out to do the Tour Divide. And it's a race that goes all the way from Canada to the border of New Mexico. It stops in Antelope, Wales. And it spans about 2,700 miles. You know, God put that race in my heart to do, and I set out to do it. It was an amazing experience. I rode my bike from Memphis all the way up to Canada, and I thought I was going to ride from Canada all the way to the border of Mexico. But personally, I actually crashed my bike about 760 miles into the race. I crashed at the bottom of a mountain, and I couldn't get my bike fixed in a timely manner. And to be honest with you, I think it was God's way of saying, hey man, you're beat up, you know, you can't feel your hands, your feet. It's time for you to go home. But man, I did leave with a lot of great stories and a lot of great experiences that happened to me during that race. And I definitely want to try to race in 2025. And if that's not possible, I'll definitely be back in 2026, because not a day has went by where I haven't thought about this race. But one of the things that was the most amazing things about that race was the women. You know, the women were the true superheroes of the Tour Divide. You know, I knew women were amazing. I knew they could do a whole bunch of things, but for me, the Tour Divide was the pinnacle of seeing human women at work. Let me tell you, they are some bad women. Let me tell you, man. I truly, it's no joke, it's no lie. I think human women who ride bikes are just hot as hell, to be honest with you. Anyway, it's nothing like seeing a woman pedaling that bike, you know, working hard, building up a little bit of sweat. So I think they're already hot. So man, when you see them out there on the Tour Divide, your eyes are already going to be popping open just because of their sheer ability. But let me tell you, I didn't think they were going to be this good. It was a woman named Megan Hakkinen. She won the race in a record time, you know, for a woman starting at the Grand Depart. And then she was followed by another fast racer named Anna Yeager. And the truth is, this story is not about the best of the best, people like them. You know, I'm talking about the people that were close to the top of the pack, the middle of the pack, and women that were even in the back of the pack. Let me tell you, they were all absolutely amazing. I was getting passed by grandmothers out there, to be quite honest with you. And I started with the lead group. I thought I was going to be so much faster. When I got started, I promise you, and I still question, was there something wrong with my bike, man? Because even pedaling as hard as I could, I felt like I was so slow. I felt like my bike was just so slow. I still wondered that I had the right type of gearing. I had a 2x11 bike, and I just felt so slow out there. But with all that said, there were a lot of women that did pass me. I remember Marie Soleil Blyce. I had seen her video the year before. She passed me very early on my first day. I mean, like a bullet, she went past me. Never saw her again. But as I got to ride and I kept riding, I probably was, let's just say I was in about 60th position at this particular time. So this was early in the race. But after you pass over the big bridge, the hanging bridge, what I call it, you're going to come across two major single tracks sometime after that. The first major single track is going to come right after you come over that bridge. You're going to run right into a single track. It goes on for a nice little while. And then that single track is going to spit you out onto a gravel road. And so I'm riding on this gravel road, and it's loose gravel, so you know, you don't got a lot of speed on this particular road. At least I did. But once again, the same story. Few people passing me here and there. Few people I'm able to keep up with. But I never forget, man. I sort of got my head down, trying to push forward. You know, I'm thinking I'm working hard. I'm by myself at this point, so I'm able to feel good about myself and about my progress. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Man, I look up to my left, and man, it's like a superhero, really just come right past me to the left. Shirt flapping in the wind, I see a sports bra under the shirt. And it's almost like a mirage, so to speak. You don't really believe what you're seeing, but the music could have started playing like in a movie when a hot woman appears, because I was just taken aback. I just saw a woman with her shades on, with a shirt flapping, saw the sports bra. She looked in shape, had some nice sized legs, and she was smoking. And I'm thinking that I'm actually pedaling hard. And man, this woman has made mincemeat out of me. Man, before I knew it, she was a mile ahead of me. And she's getting smaller and smaller. And all these dreams of winning a race had sort of started fleeting out of my brain. And all I was thinking about was, man, if I can't win, I at least want to catch back up to this woman right here. That woman, who I later found out was a woman named Alyssa. It was so funny, man. I never saw her again, just to let you know. Never saw her again. But right after she passed me, another guy came up on the side of me, and he was one of the few people that didn't pass me. I was actually able to hold on and not let him pass me. But we did talk for a while, and I was like, man, I think I just fell in love, man. I said, I just seen this girl, man. She just swooped past me. I said, I really couldn't get a great look at her because, hell, she went past me so fast. He was like, oh, man, don't feel bad. She just did the same thing to me. And I was just laughing because I was like, man, these women are like superhuman out here. It was unbelievable. So I never saw her again. And that's fine. I kept riding, kept thinking I was going to see her again, never did. But it was funny, man. On that first day, I had a woman I know was pushing 70. I had sort of stopped to do something with my bike, and she came up past me so quick, I might have been stopped, but she still was close enough to pass me in the race. So I ended up getting my bike together, and I ended up catching back up to them only because she stopped to talk to another woman that was already ahead of me. It was so funny. So that night, I couldn't find a hotel at the town that was like 3 miles away from Coco Claims, the big hiker bike, the biggest one that you would have to do on the Tour Divide. Man, I was looking at a video the other day where Leah Wilcox was like, yeah, Coco Claims, all you have to do is put on some hiking shoes and it'll take you about an hour to do Coco Claims. An hour? The woman has lost her mind. Since I couldn't find anywhere to sleep, I said, forget it. I'll go ahead and tackle Coco Claims tonight. It was almost about 11 o'clock when I started on Coco Claims, I believe, that night. Man, it was so steep. It wasn't no riding your bike up Coco Claims, even before the rock started. It was so steep. I was walking my bike the whole way. It was hours and hours. Man, it ended up being like 5 o'clock that morning. Man, I'm still going up the rocks, can barely move. It's cold. I hadn't slept. Man, by 5:30, 2 girls came running past me so fast. Up the hill, up the rocks. I mean, I'm talking about big boulders, sharp rocks. These girls was like, once again, superheroes. I'm like, what? This is crazy. I don't know who they were. I don't think they actually finished the race, but I don't care. They ran through Coco Claims. So maybe that's what Leah Wilcox was doing. But for me, don't you know, it took me damn near most of the rest of that day to get through the rest of Coco Claims, because it's not just one hill. It's a series of a lot of tall hills with a lot of rocks, a lot of elevation. It is crazy. A lot of people went through it bad on Coco Claims. But it took me hours and hours and hours. And you, like you said, you had those girls that ran up Coco Claims. And later on, that old lady walking her bike, both of us were walking her bike, she ended up passing me again, walking her bike, and she had stayed somewhere to sleep that night. So she caught back up to me, passed me, and I remember when she passed me, she looked back at me like, hey, why are you going so much slower than I am? I mean, it was crazy, right? So I know later on in that race, it was probably my fourth or fifth day. I was riding once again, solitary again. I think I was headed toward the border. I think I was headed toward the border of Canada and United States, trying to get back home. And I never forget this woman ended up coming up past me, blonde haired beauty. Her name was Kyria. You know, I found that out later. But this girl's name was Kyria. She ended up coming up past me, and all I could see was this bag that she had strapped to the back of her bike. I think it was like orange or something like that. I forgot what it was, but it was very distinctive, right? And she passed me, and all I was thinking was like, man, another woman passed me so easy. And she ended up getting a mile ahead, 2 miles ahead. I didn't see her. A little while later, I'm coming up to an intersection. She stopped at her bike, not even pedaling, just stopped. And I'm thinking like, wonder what she's doing. Maybe she's just taking a break. She was like, yeah, I'm waiting on you to tell me which way to go. She said, I'm sort of lost. I'm confused. I don't know which road to take. So wait a minute. This woman got so far ahead of me, she got off her bike and rested to ask me which way to go. I mean, that's just how badass these women are. And I'm like, okay, you were going the right way. Just stay on this road with me. So the road was sort of flat for a while. And I was matching her cadence and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick with her. I ain't going to let her get away from me this time. And she sort of gave me a look like, man, I can't believe this dude stayed with me. I just passed him. As soon as the road started to incline just a little bit, she started smoking me like it was nothing. And that's when I really started questioning, like, man, do I got the right gearing on my bike? Because when it comes to elevation, everybody's bike was just smoking mine. So I'm going to definitely go with a 1x system as opposed to a 2x system next year. But that's neither here nor there. She ended up passing me, and all I was thinking was like, man, I want to catch her. Never caught her. She was gone. And so that was a really, really, really funny story, right? So fast forward a little bit. I ended up coming to a section, and I ended up meeting a guy named Paul. We were riding in the middle of the night. I talk about this story in another video, but we were riding in the middle of the night, and we ended up camping somewhere. I only stayed there for a couple of hours to camp. And when I left that morning, I'm riding, once again, getting a good head start on everybody. And a friend that I had met earlier in the race, I would pass him and he would pass me. A guy named Peter, you know, he caught up to me. And he was like, man, Jay, which way to go? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I got confused again. I'm like, I don't know which way to go. And so we was like, okay, we think we need to go this way. So we started going the other direction. But before we went that other direction, somebody who had been riding with him showed up. And it was Kyria. I was laughing so hard. I said, look at Kyria. I said, you the one who passed me the other day. I remember that bag that you got on the back of your bike. And she said, yeah, we all need something to fixate on. And it had me laughing so hard because I was thinking like, yeah, I'm fixated on that bag and you got a nice rear end too. But man, it was just funny to see her again. And that's how I was. I would pass people only because a lot of times I wouldn't sleep and I would keep pushing. But everybody was always faster than me. So I rode with Kyria and Peter for a while. But we dropped Peter off for a second. You know, he got left behind for a second. It was just me and Kyria. And we came to this part where it was really a rough piece of trail. And I had been walking over these type of trails, you know. I wasn't taking any chances. And I was like, Kyria, are you going to ride through there? And she was like, man, it's rough, but I'm going to give it a try. And I was thinking to myself, like, I wasn't going to give it a try. Man, Kyria started riding through it, and she was making it through it, right? Man, this woman was so badass that she motivated me to try it, right? And believe it or not, when I tried it, I actually made it through that section. And I was telling Kyria, I was like, man, you the type of woman I need because, you know, you motivated me to actually get through that when I was not going to even attempt it. But you know, once again, superwoman type stuff. And she didn't finish that. She actually finished the race. I think she finished it in like 32 days, which was her goal, somewhere around that time. So she didn't finish this race super fast, but she still was a superhero to me. We kept going up that mountain. I forgot the name of the mountain, but man, it got so steep and it was so long. Before long, I lost Kyria. Peter had caught back up, and both of them rode off into the sunset. Never saw him again. So later on down the road, I ended up coming across this mountain called Lava Mountain. Now, this was in Montana. Man, this was one of the roughest mountains to go up, you know, other than the Cocoa Climbs or whatever. It was just nasty, filthy. And the descent was way worse than the climb. And the climb was hell, you know. And I remember I got to this town, and this woman was telling me, she was like, yeah, man, you ought to just, I'm applauding you just for getting through that, you know, especially right before it got really, really dark. And I was like, man, yeah, I just beat the dark. I said, man, I can't lie. That mountain right there had me questioning what I was doing out here. I promise you. And she was laughing. We was joking. And she was like, yeah, I knew you was coming because I saw you on the radar. I was like, what? You be following? She like, yeah, I be following. She said, it's a girl, you know, coming behind you tonight. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to try to go ahead and head to Butte tonight. You know, I forgot the name of the town, but it's a town in between Helena and Butte. I forgot the name of the town. But she was like, you going to try to go to Butte? I was like, man, I'm going to try to make it to Butte because my friend named Paul, and, you know, he in Butte right now. I want to try to make it there. And she was like, man, it's going to be X amount of time, 4 in the morning before you get there. I'm like, I don't care. It was actually 6 in the morning. But she was like, you know what's funny? She said, it's this girl named Marissa coming up right behind you. I said, what? At this time of night? She was like, yeah, it's too late though. It's no way that she's going to keep riding. She going to camp, you know, because that mountain is treacherous and stuff. Now, I actually climbed Cocoa Climbs in the middle of the night, and a lot of people was like, man, we can't believe you even attempted that late at night. So, of course, I was thinking like, it's no way this girl named Marissa is going to attempt to do this at night. So let's just fast forward to where my race pretty much ended at. After I crashed my bike and all this stuff, I was in this town called Wise River. It's like 50, 60 miles past Butte, about 50 miles past Butte. And man, the night that I got to Wise River after my bike broke, a girl walked into the door, right? And she was carrying a full pizza, and that's my favorite food. So honestly, when she did that, I was like, man, I'm almost in love with whoever this is. She done brought a full pizza here, so she must be a pizza lover. And it was a small town. It's no way anybody should have been able to get any food at that time of night. But she had a full pizza, and it's crazy. She went to the bathroom. I actually sort of helped her set her bed up, and she didn't know it, though. I put the mat on her bed because I knew she didn't know where it was, so. Still couldn't see the girl or anything, but then next morning I saw her and I was like, ooh, this girl is actually super beautiful. I'm going to be honest with you. But I saw her, met her, she was super nice. And we were talking and I heard her say her name. Either I asked her name and she said it was Marissa. I said, wait a minute, you the girl that was behind me coming up Lava Mountain at nighttime. I said, what actually happened? I said, did you actually climb that mountain? She said, oh, I climbed it and descended that night. I said, what? Man, that mountain was treacherous. I'm talking about in the daytime. So, man, my mind was blown away by her even attempting that, you know. This girl was so gritty. I mean, like, my bike was beyond repair, but her bike had like a brake pad problem, and I remember I actually offered to help her, like flip her bike over. She was like, "But remember, it's we all got to be self-sufficient. You know, we can't get no help." And I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot I can't help you." So she turned her bike over, and you know she was working on it. And I can't lie, it was a turn on just to see her, you know, doing all that on her own. We ended up calling some guy to look at our bikes. Mine was done. I mean, I had to go to a bike shop, but he was going to help her with hers. But what was funny was she ended up fixing it on her own. This girl was badass. And she ended up leaving. My bike couldn't get fixed. I was sort of sad because I wanted to catch up with her. Turns out she ended up breaking her arm, so she didn't get a chance to finish. But make a long story short, the girls that I talked to you about weren't at the forefront of the race, you know. These were people just in the race. And I was just so surprised about all these women because it's so many challenges. It's so rough out on the trail. And every time I would come to one of these big challenges, I would think about, man, it's women that came before me, and it's women that's coming after me that's going to be facing these exact same challenges. And even with women that might have been out there with a husband or a boyfriend, the couple of them that might have been, you know, the boyfriends or the husband wasn't helping these women like with picking their bike up and hiking a bike, you know. They let all these people do these things on their own. So these women, for the most part, all the ones that I saw were doing everything on their own. And it was a lot to do. So that's why I say, man, the women out there on the trail that was biking, as far as the racers, they were the true super women of the Tour Divide. Not only super women, but just the superheroes of the Tour Divide. They were absolutely amazing. Now, there's a lot of other amazing pieces of the puzzle that goes with the Tour Divide, and they're going to come in stories that I have to tell later. But I really hope you enjoyed this story. Once again, hats off to all the beautiful, strong, amazing, athletic women that take on the Tour Divide every year. To see you in person do your magic was really amazing. I hope to get back out there and finish the race one day soon myself. But as far as today, thank you for tuning in. But it's been me, JayDollKingHefner. And I want to say one thing. If you want to go anywhere or do anything, all you have to do is get on your bike and take a ride.